suffer the consequences. The wisdom of Elijah's inside of the conscientious, so I move with it.
Follow your passion first. When I retired from the game, I sat there asking kind of all the wrong questions. What's the biggest industry I can get into? And it's all the wrong stuff. And you got to sit there and ask yourself, okay, what am I truly passionate about? What do I enjoy doing? And when you feel that way, honestly, you feel like you have never worked a day in your life. It's the most fun thing in the world. You get up in the morning excited about what you're doing. And you got to be really honest with yourself about it. If you wake up in the morning and you're dreading going to work, dude, do something else. Right. Do something else. And those are hard decisions to make. But when you make those decisions, it's a very liberating experience. And you find out that the rewards will come.
I think the best way to prove your value is to work, is to learn, is to absorb, to be a sponge. But you always want to outwork your potential. As hard as you believe you can work harder than that. And that's what I tried to do when I first came in the league. But basketball is such a direct competition sport that me coming in at 17, I hated when my teammates would say, I get hit with an elbow, right? Shaq would hit me with an elbow in practice. And Nick Van Exel would come up and say, "Are you okay?" I'm like, what? Mao, are you okay? What the hell's wrong with you? So I always had that extra chip on my shoulder. So every day in practice for me was really trying to annihilate everybody that I was playing against. Because I wanted to prove you don't need to babysit me. I'm fine, And so it's always that competitive nature, the work ethic, and curiosity. Because I asked a lot of questions. Playing with Byron Scott, I asked him a lot of questions. Eddie Jones, who was great at chasing guards off the screens, and I didn't understand how to do that. I would sit with him before practice, after practice. Magic, all the Laker greats, I would always sit down and just ask them questions about certain games that I studied growing up. What actually happened there? What did you feel there and why?
We were playing against the Lakers, Tom, and we were out here in LA. So the game was at 7. It's like, you know what? I'm going to come to the Staples Center because we're playing. This is when the Lakers had Kobe and Shaq. Okay, this is like the championship Lakers. So now I'm going to get there at 3 o'clock. I want to make sure I make 400 made shots before I go back into the room, and then I sit in the sauna and I get ready for the game. So, get in the car, get to the gym, get there, and as I'm walking onto the court, who do I see? I see Kobe Bryant already working out. So once I set my foot across that line, I started working out. And so I worked out for a good hour and a half. And when I came off, after I was done, I sat down, and of course I still heard the ball bouncing. I looked down, I'm like, this guy's still working out. He was working out for it looks like he was in a dead sweat when I got here, and he's still going. And it's not like his moves are nonchalant or lazy. He's doing game moves, I sit there and I unlace my shoes. I'm like, I want to see how long this goes. So I sit out there and watch 25 minutes, and he got done. I said, okay, I think I've seen enough. Go play, come back, get in the sauna, get ready for the game. That game, he drops 40 on us, okay? And after the game is over, I'm like, I have to ask this guy. I have to understand, why he works like that. Right. So after the game was over, I'm like, hey, Kobe, why were you in the gym for so long? He's like, because I saw you come in. And I wanted you to know that it doesn't matter how hard you work, that I'm willing to work harder than you.
If your job is to try to be the best basketball player you can be, right? To do that, you have to practice, you have to train. Right? You want to train as much as you can, as often as you can. So if you get up at 10 in the morning, train at 11, right? 12, say 12, train at 12, train for 2 hours, 12 to 2. You have to let your body recover. So you eat, recover, whatever. You get back out, you train, start training again at 6. Train from 6 to 8, right? And now you go home, you shower, you eat dinner, you go to bed, you wake up, you do it again, right? Those are 2 sessions. Right now, imagine you wake up at 3, you train at 4, you go 4 to 6, come home, breakfast, relax, now you're back at it again, 9 to 11, right? Relax, and now all of a sudden you're back at it again, 2 to 4, and now you're back at it again, 7 to 9. Look how much more training I have done by simply starting at 4. right? So now you do that, and as the years go on, the separation that you have with your competitors and your peers just grows larger and larger and larger and larger and larger. And by year 5 or 6, doesn't matter what kind of work they do in the summer, they're never going to catch up because you're 5 years behind. Right? So it makes sense to get up and start your day early because you can get more work in. If I start earlier, I can train more hours. And I know the other guys aren't doing it because I know what their training schedule is. Right? So I know if I do this consistently over time, the gap's just going to widen and widen and widen and widen and widen, and they won't be able to get that back. So to me, it was just common sense. I'm like thinking, how can I get an advantage? Well, start earlier. Yeah, let's do that.
How do you develop that, or where do you learn that from?
Well, I think it's just a matter of what's important to you. What's important to you for whatever reason. I felt like I didn't feel good about myself if I wasn't doing everything I could to be the best version of myself. If I felt like I left anything on the table, it would eat away at me. I wouldn't be able to look myself in the mirror. And so the reason why I can retire now and be completely comfortable about it, because I know that I've done everything I could to be the best basketball player I could be.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, family. Peace, 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 everybody. Rest in peace, rest in power to Kobe and Gigi. Today is the death anniversary, the 2-year anniversary of that tragic event that I know we all remember. That's one of those things that kind of hit everybody real hard. You probably remember exactly where you was at when you got that news. And so, 2 years already it's been. And so I wanted to start off the show with some, words of encouragement from Kobe, man, who was always dropping some real heavy gems. And even though, he was in the arena of basketball, the principles that he's speaking on is something that we all can learn and benefit from. You know what I'm saying? When he's talking about, becoming the best version of yourself. When he's talking about, waking up earlier than everybody else, outworking everybody else, finding your passion. Things like this is something that we all can apply to our lives, to our business, to, whatever endeavors that we trying to take on. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely wanted to open up the show and pay homage to Kobe and Gigi with that one. What's going on, Jackson Harlem, Viewer 1, Crown 808 in the building. Shout out to Crown 808. Our sister threw us the alley-oop for tonight's show.
Thank you, sis.
Yes, indeed. We got another hot one coming up for y'all. I already know this one is going to be great. So welcome, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Sincere Love the Godcast. I am the God Sincere Love, and this is my lovely co-host, Miss Nicety Girl. How you doing tonight, beloved?
I'm good. Excited for the show. Peace, love, and Black power, and reparations, family.
And reparations. Don't forget about them. Don't forget to cut that check.
We get our reparations.
Cut the check. Indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All right. So let me I had it pulled up, but I was doing something else over here. Let me pull up the little bio so we can let y'all know who we got on the set tonight.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen. And by the way, while you're waiting for me to get this together, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the share button. Subscribe to this YouTube channel if you're watching us on YouTube, or if you're watching us on Facebook or Twitter. Make sure that you are following as well. But definitely head on over to the YouTube channel and click the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can be reminded whenever we go live with new episodes of Sincere Love the Godcast. We do this each and every week. Wednesday and Thursday, we have the Black Business Showcase at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time, and our Sunday show where we cover current events and other important topics pertaining to the Black community. is at 7 p.m. on Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. Pacific Time. So make sure y'all check us out, family. And so tonight we got brother Cavanaugh Nweze, and I hope I'm saying the last name right. I hope I'm saying it right. If not, the brother can correct me when we come on here, but we're going to get it right before the end of the show if I got it wrong. But the brother Cavanaugh Nweze is the co-founder of Nweze Financial Solutions, an international company that offers a wide range of financial development services for individuals and businesses. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to you our guest for the evening, Brother Cavanaugh Nweze. How close am I?
You very close. You very close. You did good, man.
Say it for us one time, man.
Cavanaugh Nweze. So, like I said, you there.
Okay, so it's almost like in Nkrumah. The N is almost like how you pronounce it with Nkrumah. So
exactly.
Nweze.
My family is Igbo. So in Igbo, the N and W is almost like the N and K, or the double L in Spanish, or the rolling R. You know what I mean? N and W, the N and W together is actually like a letter in the alphabet in Igbo. So yeah, you good, bro. You good. I appreciate that.
Right, definitely. I definitely want to get it right and show the proper respect. You know what I'm saying? Not only is it your name, but it's also the name that you chose to use for your company as well. Right. So we definitely got to make sure that we get that right. And we was talking a little bit about that backstage. So tell us why you chose to use your name, even though you always had a problem with people pronouncing it throughout your life. Why'd you choose to use that name for your business?
Yeah, it's well, first, our business is as much of a social endeavor, and an endeavor of activism as much as it is of finance and economics. And these services are not always readily available in our community, and if they are, they're like either exploitative, or predatory, or just inadequate. Number one, and it's so many things that I've had a great deal. There was a time that I was like, I tried to call me anything but my name, but I wanted to make sure that people knew who they were dealing with before they walked in the door. I had an elder, and now an ancestor. His name is Kalonji. He owned like a small cafe in the neighborhood, and he called it Tony's Cafe. I'm like, bro, this your cafe. Who was Tony? Like, I know that was my first job. I used to wash dishes for him, and he had Tony's Cafe. I'm like, what's up with this? He was like, man, because anybody gonna come and they don't know who the owner is. And everybody gonna spend with me. And honestly, I wanted to, and not only knowing that we need businesses owned by people of color in our community, but I wanted to make a statement that you knew who you were dealing with, but not only did you know who you're dealing with, but put it together in such a state that regardless of what you look like, where you came from, you still know you wanted those services. So all our clients don't look like us, and so, and it's like I said, it's an economic endeavor. So we're trying to attract these resources into our community, and hire other people that look like us, and then we can spread it out that way, rather than I grew up in a very pro-Black environment, and one of the things that I loved, but one of the things that I had issues with, that sometimes it was so exclusive, that sometimes some of the people who needed the services the most, or needed the help the most, was turned off because it's like, I'm not that, So I wanted to be able to let people know who we were, but also be so inviting that it's like, okay, I still need to mess with you. I still need your services. I like how you showing up, and that's how we get down.
I like that. I like that. Definitely.
Business too.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? We always say that too, just because we have a Black business doesn't mean that we only do business with Black people. It doesn't mean that we only service Black people. You know what I'm saying? but we do business with everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Everybody.
We trying to get this money. You know what I'm saying?
Already.
And what I thought you was going with it for a second, and this is something that I've experienced growing up in conscious circles and pro-black circles. They be so pro-black that they be anti-money.
You
You know what
know,
I'm saying? You have this
yes.
poor righteous teacher mentality. You know what I'm saying? Where we're not supposed to be have abundance and overflow. Like, nah, we off
Yes, we are.
Exactly, exactly. And personally, I had to grow out of that myself. You know what I mean? And I always loved numbers. But I was, like I said, raised in an environment to where it got to a point was like, oh, money is evil. You know, I
Right.
can't say that I was told to me directly, but I picked that up because it was like the people who, it seemed like to me, the people who sacrificed the most and who's like, no, I don't need no job. No, I'm not worried about money. I just want to serve. Those were the people in my community that were kind of put on a pedestal. So at one point in my life, I aspired to that, you know, even as a young man. And some very specific things that I did in my younger adulthood that people was just like, man, you're crazy. Like, why would you do that? To where I really I specifically avoided lucrative opportunities. You know, straight out of college, I worked for Citgo Petroleum, things, you know, I worked for Big Oil, things of that nature. And I had a homie who was, you know, he had a couple strikes. And it got to a point to I was like, man, you know, I quit. And at that time, I was just doing community gardens and building gardens in people's houses and things of that nature. And I quit this, you know, 5-figure job coming straight out of college. And he was just like, man, I would kill to have that type of job. You know what I mean? I can't get a minimum wage job. And here you are quitting. My grandma and them, all of them said the same thing. But I'm happy in my decision because I wouldn't be here where I am today. But I definitely had to have a moment was like, nah, this ain't the thing. You know what I mean? It's not the money that's the problem. It's about the intention and the use of the resources that could be the problem. And then it was like that. We abundant. We have overflow. We kings and queens. You know, I had another conversation with a homie. We were it was my wife and myself and another couple. We were in Jamaica, and it was late. You know what I mean? And I had a comment I made a comment to the sister. I was just like, man, I kind of feel bad because we had, you know, it was one of those Jamaican. It was we was in Jamaica and we had cooks. They was cleaning the house, all of that. And I'm like, they was bringing us all of this food. And I had this comment. I was like, is this how I kind of feel bad? Is this how slave masters live?
I felt that way when I was in Jamaica.
Yeah, and I'm like, because I'm like, these locals, they ain't living in a house that don't look like the house they in. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I felt the way, and she was like, whoa, brother, you got to go further back than that. Because think about how the kings and queens live. You're like your family from Africa. My grandfather is a chief, you know, and so it's like, because he is of African descent, did he not have those things, these representations of wealth? And honestly, then that was when they started to open them up my eyes. It's like, okay, it's okay to be comfortable, you know. It's just about the intention behind it and just making sure that you're taking care of everybody in the right way. And but yeah, I had to, and it broke my heart. You know what I mean? I had a real like I had an experience. Like I was like, man, I did this to myself. I like broke down crying at one time. It's like, why? You know what I mean? It's like, why did I think I was not deserving of certain things? Man, you know, I don't need that. Like I'm good with this and I'll be fine, you know, making things harder on myself for absolutely no reason. You know, so it's really a mindset thing, and it's been a big shift. And since then, my life has you know, I've always been prosperous, even when the accounts was low, you know, or lower, you know, if you will. But just that change of that mindset, and then everything else just kind of fell in place.
That's awesome.
Yes, indeed.
That's awesome.
That mindset piece is huge.
Especially for us, because we have this thing where we think that You have to be down, in poverty in order to be respected. Sometimes it's almost like the person that's doing well for themselves and trying to be a good example to the community and showing them what you can do too, so that you're not down and you can provide for your family. Oh, you think you all that?
Yeah,
So don't
yeah,
be preaching to me. You know what I'm saying? We got to get out of that mindset again. It's okay to have abundance. We're
mhm,
Right.
supposed to have abundance. The
yeah,
Right.
reason why we were colonized in the first place is because we were so welcoming, and because we had abundance, we didn't mind sharing. Right? It
yeah.
was our kindness and our giving spirit that got us, unfortunately, colonized in the first place. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. And then it's like the some of those other cultures, when we see abundance and those symbols of wealth, we
Hmm.
also indirectly or directly see how they accumulated it.
Hmm.
And it was like, nah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that way. And it's not that we don't want to be wealthy and comfortable.
Yeah.
It's like we don't want to use those methods that they use to gain their wealth.
No.
And we don't always know ways to or understand ways to really like be for the people, be for
Hmm.
ourselves, take care of everybody, and be good,
Hmm.
and like it's enough for everybody. When I drive to some of them other neighborhoods, it's banks across the street from banks. You go to the
Right.
Asian community,
Hmm.
it's
Hmm.
like a row of banks. Ain't
Yeah.
nobody tripping. You know what I mean? They all of the coffers, all of the vaults is filled.
Mm.
And it's because they work together.
Yeah.
And that's something that I had to really, it's like, okay, it was an awakening for me that I had to go through. And it's like, okay, let's get it.
Let's
Yes,
get it.
indeed. Yes, indeed. So, yeah, that's good stuff right there, man. As individuals, we gotta reset the mindset. We gotta shift the paradigm in our mindset, and that's just going to translate into the communities, and we can really get to this
Hmm.
nation building, like what you're talking about. We have to shift the culture altogether. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of that stuff, that trauma, has become a part of the culture. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? And
Hmm.
and, and that's blocking us from the progress that we could be making, on our own, doing
Yep.
for
Right.
self with the right mentality. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, man, this is off to a good start already. But I want to get into a little bit about your history, brother. I like for the guests to take us back, to the beginning of their journey as far as the entrepreneurship,
Okay.
and how you got into the field that you're in now.
Got it. Well, I always loved numbers off the rip. Like math was always my favorite subject. And I always, from a child, I wanted to be. I knew I wanted to be a businessman. I was the kid in elementary school, selling the blow pops. By the time I got to high school, I was selling watches, fake Gucci watches. Hopefully, none of my old high school classmates. Um, like, man, I thought I really liked that watch. Nah, that
Right.
wasn't what it was. But I always loved business. And even in college, did some other businesses. I was selling T-shirts, throwing parties, um, selling tennis shoes, all of these things. And so when I went to Prairie View A&M down here in Texas, and so with that I studied business management. By being a business management major, you had to take some very basic accounting courses. Um, and that first accounting course I had, and me having these little hustles, I fell in love with it, and my professor saw it, and I would forever shout her name. Her name is Dr. Betty DeSalle. Now I be looking for her too. She ain't be. I've been I didn't email her. I'm trying to get back in touch with her, but she saw my passion and for the numbers, for the formulas. And I was like walking into class, flip flops and cut off T-shirts, and making 97s and 99s, and it's the type of class that it turned the business major into like, nah, I'm gonna do communications, bro. I'm not, people didn't want, they couldn't get through this accounting course. So then it came to the point I was tutoring people. I don't tell Dr. DeSalle, but it was a couple of people that I used to kind of sell some seats. When it was time to take the test, I would sell the seats next to me so people could kind of look over because they knew I was gonna come out with a 99.
Straight hustle.
Yeah. And
Man,
so
monetizing that black brain.
man,
Right.
you know, And then she pulled me to the side. She's like, Cavanaugh, come speak to me after class. She showed me a pamphlet of like straight out of college. She's like, this is the difference between a management major and an accounting major. You need to be an accounting major. I went and changed my major the next day, and absolutely loved it. And I never the only I loved it. I never made the only accounting course that I made less than a B in was taxes, and it was because of the mindset that I had as a from where I grew up. When I'm anti-government, anti-demand, and it was like I'm sitting in these college courses about taxes and how much you got to pay, so on and so forth. And I had a mental block up. It's like, why am you teaching me how to extract money from my community, so on and so forth, all of that? No, I don't want to learn it. And it was the only accounting course I ever got a C in. But then I went and got my master's in accounting, and I came across another tax class, and I was like, oh, I'm tripping. It just clicked. It was like I had that block up, and then it was like I need to learn everything about taxes so I can make sure people can keep more money within our community. And then that's where it kind of took off from there. And I was still kind of working corporate, doing some activist endeavors with food and growing food, things of that nature. And then it got to the point to where while I was still working corporate, I was just around the neighborhood. People knew what I did. And everybody used to ask me like, man, can you do my taxes? Can you do this? Like, I got this issue with the IRS. Like, man, can you help me out? And my answer was always no, because that's, in accounting, you have these different fields, and everybody that's an accountant doesn't necessarily do taxes. So I was just telling them like, no, that's not the type of accounting that I do. And then it got to a point. I had this one brother, I love him to death. I love him to life, if you will. And he was like, bro, I got this real serious issue and I need help, you know. And I think he was a couple years behind. He was a business owner, and it was the first time I was like, okay. I said yes. And I sat down at my kitchen table and I did his taxes with pen and paper. I was reading the IRS pronouncements, filled it out by paper, then went and typed it up. And whatever issue that he was dealing with at the time, we got him through it. He was able to do what he needed to do for his business. His family was taken care of. And then it was like, man, I just did that I just sat there and read it, and did it. And then I just kept saying yes to people asking for help. And then that's how we ended up to where we opened up the company. And then so I was moonlighting for a while I was still working corporate. And then it just got to a point where just like, nah, this is what I'm about to do. And then I haven't looked back since. So it was just out of service of helping people that look like me.
So you can help us. Can you help a person like myself, get away with what Trump got away with? That was a joke, by the way.
No, that's not a
That was
joke. Yeah, it's truth and jokes now.
Yeah.
And I hear it in this office often. People come in and like, look, I want that Trump tax
We
plan.
want that Trump thing.
I got you. And one of the things that I think that is missing or that's not discussed enough in our community is like when we think about taxes and when we think about finances, we really ain't on it until we got an issue. We not thinking about it ahead. We just trying to pay bills and be done with it. We thinking about rent when like right now is January 26th. So some people just now thinking about what they're gonna do for February 1st, in those different bills. But nah, you should have been thinking about that 3 months ago, a year ago, so on and so forth. And so that's the thing about that Trump plan. And we have clients that like, man, why I got to pay this amount of money and Trump paid $75? Like what? I don't understand. But it's planning. It's planning and understanding the loopholes. Because and then we'll have clients that come in like they'll Google whatever they want to Google. It's cool. You can Google it, but it's 2022, right? We trying to file taxes for 2021. So whatever you Google, then if you didn't make those moves in 2021, it's null and void. You know what I mean? So that Trump tax plan, I guarantee you, in the 2021 year, he was calling up his accountants and like, hey, this is what I'm gonna do this year. These are my goals. These are the type of moves. Can you tell me what will be my tax liability beforehand, rather than here's all my documents, how much I get back.
Right.
We thinking about it on the back end, and then we still losing because we like, hey, give me my tax refund, but they holding your money, and we giving zero interest loans to the government. A tax refund is not necessarily a good thing. You overpaid something for a year, and then they're gonna give, you've been overpaying something for 12 months, and then you're gonna wait till the year after, and maybe by February, March, April, somewhere, you're gonna get a couple racks back. And they ain't give you nothing on top of that money. They ain't give you no interest. You could have held that in your in your even in your savings account and done better, But it's just that mindset that we don't really think about. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get this money on the back end, So it's some situations with like certain credits and things of that nature that we get that's not necessarily linked to that money that was withheld from our paycheck. But a lot of it, a good portion of it, that when you look at your W-2 and you see that federal income tax withheld, that's money that you gave to the government. If you get any of it back, they not paying you no interest. And that there are some rare situations that interest is paid, but it's dumb. It's like less than 1%. It's worse than the savings account. We had we had a client that we helped them get like over 10 racks back. I think he had interest about $10, less than that. You know what I mean? And they held that money for like 3 years. You know what I mean? So it's like it's not worth it. But we don't really think of that way. It's just like, what do we have to do? Pay now, and then I'm gonna get this tax refund back on the back end. But that money could have been more valuable, in your pocket, in your bank account, in your investment account, or just so many other things. Even if it's just in your hand and under your mattress, it's in your possession, not somebody else.
So what is the play? I want to stay right there for a minute. What is the play? How do you keep that money in your hands, in your pocket, and some type of investment or whatever you decide to do with it, rather than in the hands of the IRS?
So number one is discipline and planning. Those are the first two keys, and so that's the number one. And we all have to research and know. I wouldn't say research. Well, yes, we need to do our own research, but we also have to know our personal needs and plan and
budget.
Priorities and budget for our families, right? Number one. And then so what can be done is, when some people play with it, but they don't really do it the right way, people go start playing with their W-4s and decreasing the amount of money that's withheld from their paycheck. So what you can do is, if you know that you need more of that money back, but if you know you wasn't going to get it in the first place, you can hide it from yourself. And basic investment funds, ETFs, things of that nature, that stuff can grow at the least 8% a year. So then that money can start working for itself. Or you might have a side hustle. You might make jewelry. You might make T-shirts. So that every paycheck you got this extra $200 that's not coming into your household. So okay, go change that W-4 per your own research and your own due diligence, and you can change that. Take that couple $100 every $50, whatever it is, and put go buy some inventory, go pay for a domain on a website, start your online store, get some graphic designers done, and then that money is actually generating or simply investing it, and then that money is generating a return. So by the time you do file taxes and you do have a tax bill, guess what? You paying that tax bill from your profit that you made over those last 12 months. So that's an option. And
I
even
don't even think you know how valuable that was right there. Like, you know what I'm saying? That might be second nature to you. But man, y'all need to have your pen and your pads and write that down right there. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm over here, I think I know a thing or two. And that was heavy right there. That was a bar right there. You know what I'm saying? You turning the money that they automatically take out of your paycheck into an asset and utilizing that asset to take care of that liability. You know what I'm saying? That you're not going to really make nothing off of in the long run because you steady waiting on a tax return at the end of the year. Every year you're looking for that income tax check. But there's a much better play out there for you, man. Thank you.
Nah, no problem, man. And you know, I can't take full credit. I'm just passing on something that was passed to me. And honestly, when I really picked that up, I was working for an audit firm. I was working corporate, and I had it was a gentleman, didn't look like me. And I don't know how we ended up talking about taxes and you know what's being withheld from my check. Man, homie had a whole spreadsheet. He didn't have nothing withheld from his check. And he knew exactly what he wanted, what you know you can predict per your salary, you know, and your household size, what your tax, or at least make an estimate of what your tax liability would be. And so he predicted that. He had a whole spreadsheet. He kept that money, and in his case, he invested it, and then he took he took that money on the back end, and then he paid it. He paid off his taxes, and he still has that profit that he made from that investment, and no tax bill. But you know, he didn't have a tax refund. You know, he had a tax bill, and he paid it with the profits of whatever he saved on his own. And then that was like, oh man, for real, you know. And that was something that I didn't get. You know, I didn't get from my grandma, my uncle, my cousin. It was like I said, somebody else that didn't look like me, and it was like, dang, that's a whole, that's a real thing. And he was, I think he was even probably a little bit younger than me, you know, but he had it out and ironed out to a T. And so that's a very real thing. You can go to the IRS, and really you ain't even got to go to the IRS website no more. You can think about like, okay, I make this much. You can go look at your tax brackets per your household size, things of that nature. This is kind of what I would have to pay, and then go, you know, play it that way, you know. And then it's also, you know, and that, but that's as a wage earning employee. If you like a business owner, you have the option of paying yourself as a W-2 employee or just paying yourself outright, just cash, you know, and not withholding, you know, taxes from your own check. And so that's a little bit, I would say it's a little simpler, you know, not as many calculations, you know, but you still got to run that business. That business has to be profitable so you can be able to pay yourself. And then you have a little bit more options on your tax liability at the end of the year.
So, what do you think about people who, you know, I know a lot of people, TurboTax, you know, you see TurboTax. I don't think that it's giving the information that you're giving or even looking for the information that you're giving. You just answering the little questions and it just calculates everything for you. Would you recommend people, you know, who have complex situation or even, you know, they could be a 5 or 6 figure earner at their job, right? Do you recommend that they go to a TurboTax or should they be coming to you?
I got it. If it's complex, if you have a complex and you are a high income earner and you do have a complex income structure, you need to be talking to somebody to make sure that you're doing the right things. And when I say complex, I mean like multiple W-2s. Maybe you got a side hustle or two, and you need to be making sure that you're reporting it appropriately. So in TurboTax, you're absolutely right. They're not going to give you the options. They're not going to talk through like, hey, oh, you had a business. What portion of your house did you use for your business endeavor? You know what I mean? They're not gonna really dig in there. You know, when we talking to people, I'm talking to a homie, but I'm also my calculators and wheels are turning in my head. You know, even for yourselves, you know what I mean? Like we doing the Godcast, right? And we know YouTube, certain streaming platforms, it can be monetized, right? So they gonna send you your income, but at the same time, the spaces that you're using in your personal space, those are expenses that you can write off against that income. And a lot of times when we're starting businesses from scratch, we have a lot of people in our community, nah, man, I'm not reporting that on my taxes. I don't want to get caught up. Nah, but what you're really doing is leaving money on the table, because people are like, I don't want to have no tax bill. So let's say somebody making jewelry, right? They making jewelry in their house. They go and do some vending opportunities, things of that nature throughout the year. And they doing all right. You know what I mean? They didn't built up a little cash. They don't have to pay themselves. The materials are relatively cheap. If anything, they're just giving their time and their creativity, and then they go sell their wares, right? And they look up and they done build up a nice little stash of a few $1,000s. And they like, man, I don't want to pay no taxes, so I'm not gonna report it. But what they only thinking about that particular aspect of that money that's going, the money that they've received, right? And they're thinking about the actual supplies that they purchased. So let's say they done made $3,000 over the year. They only spent $300 on jewelry making supplies and tools, but they did well, and maybe some, or maybe a couple of $100 on booth rentals at different events, right? So you got a nice amount of profit if that's all you thinking about. But you had to have a space to be able to manufacture that jewelry. You had to drive to that vending event. You had to get Uber. Whatever you did, you had to go there. And a lot of times we omit those expenses, but it's our personal, our quote unquote, in this case, it could be your W-2 job that's paying for the rent, paying for the utilities. You couldn't make no jewelry if the lights was off. You know what I mean? You couldn't post on social media if your phone wasn't working, if you didn't have Wi-Fi at the crib. And we omit all of that, and we like, oh, I don't want to pay taxes on it. But what you really could do is, you got that money, you done won, and you done got this extra income coming in. You got this little stash of bread, but now we don't really think about all of these other expenses. Okay, I had to keep my lights on in my house. My phone bill had to be paid. I had to gas up my car. I had to have insurance on my car. All of these different things that are covered from other sources of income. Now these are expenses that we can allocate against that extra $3,000. And so really, when you put all of those things together, you probably took a loss, and just on paper, by writing those things off. Don't start depreciating the car. Like, yes, you can write off so all of those things. And then so now you in the loss on paper, purely the Donald Trump tax plan, right? The cash that came in, but you got all of these other expenses that you're really not thinking about in your head. And now you got a loss, and that loss is going to go against your other income at your W-2 job. And then some of that money that was withheld, is going to decrease that income too. So a lot of times we're not really thinking about that whole picture about what we need to, because we're so intuitive. Oh, man, it's easy to me. I'm just making jewelry. But now you have to do a lot of other things, just like you said, brother. Like, I love this type of stuff. I love numbers, and I'll just read these pronouncements when I have time, and I'll just come up with these ideas. And sometimes I take that for granted. But it takes time to be able to do that. I gotta have internet to be access to lights and all of these things to be able to receive this information. But a lot of times we're just so creative, and we take that creativity for granted. But it's other things that we can, because that's how we're exploited a lot. We also talk a lot about discrimination, and we so much on racial discrimination. But now, like, it's still not to say racial discrimination does not exist, but there's also like classism and economic discrimination. And that's the game, you know what I mean? And so it's economic warfare. And we have to be able to play by and understand their rules. And that's how we are exploited a lot. We pencil whip, you know what I mean?
But now perish from a lack of knowledge.
Yeah, but now this knowledge is available, and we can use those. We have access to use those same tools that they've been using to that we've been oppressed by,
to undermine us, more or less.
Yeah,
exactly. But now we can learn those tools, and we can put it to our benefit to make it happen. And
Indeed.
that's my funnest. That's my creativity. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's
And
my
I
art.
can hear the passion when you're
Yeah,
breaking it
right.
down, and you break it down so well. It's making perfect sense. You know
Breaking
what
it
I'm
down
saying?
very well.
My question, in order to run those plays, to create those tax shelters for yourself, if you will, do you have to have it under LLC?
Nope, nope. A
It doesn't have to be an
LLC,
LLC.
it does not. A LLC does not help you in taxes. LLC is a legal entity.
Okay.
It stands for a limited
Liability.
liability company. So it's limiting your liability. So you can do it up under your own name. You can get a DBA, and yes, you can get an LLC, and but it's not always required. And the LLC does not help you with taxes. LLC alone does not,
Right.
really, if anything, it protects your personal assets, from and a LLC is a natural entity. If you talk about people, I'm pretty sure we all know somebody who talk about the straw man theory. Our birth certificates, our certificates on the market, and so on and so forth. I can't.
Right.
I've been around it, but I can't say I can run that down to explain it to that same amount of detail. But a LLC is just that. If you create a natural entity. So just like I have a name, my LLC has a name. Just like I have a social security number, that the social security number for your LLC or for your business is your EIN number. And so a LLC or any business, a corporation, is a natural entity, and it can do everything that you and I can do as individuals except vote.
Mm.
Except
The
what?
vote.
Except vote. Except vote.
Yeah.
Okay.
So enter contracts, purchase property, make money, incur expenses. All of these entities can do the same thing because it's the straw man theory. It's a document, and it just comes down to pencil whipping again. There's that pen and paper, and that's the one thing that they one of the few things that they was just like, okay, we got to make sure that these folks can't read them. We're gonna hide this from them. And so but that's a tool. It's as much as a tool as and a weapon as a sword. And that's my that has become my weapon of choice. My pen.
Sword in the shield.
Right.
Offense and
Right.
defense.
No. So, do you? I was looking at your website while we're on here. I kind of clicked on here. Will you be having any type of? I know you have several resources and things that you do in your business, but do you have any, say, classes coming up now in the future where people can learn these tools? As well. Because I can come to you, but certain
Sign
things
me
you
up.
want to. Some things you want to know on your own. Obviously, most business owners, running a small business, large business, or even yourself, you don't want to do it, but I still want to understand it, right?
Yeah.
Just in case I may have to do it by myself. Maybe I can afford to pay someone this time, whatever the case may be. Do you have any courses or anything like that in the works where people can come and learn from you?
Yes. So I just finished, now really maybe a few weeks ago, recording my actual first tax class, to where I'm walking through the whole individual tax return. So exactly what that means, certain sections of it, terminologies, glossary. So we do have an individual tax class that I'm about to publish and make available very soon. So I'm trying to finish putting some polishing touches on that. But I also do have a whole list of classes to where I plan on diving into, not only just that when we just talk about the 1040, but I do plan on diving into that Schedule C, which is the people reporting their business income, the other tax forms and the corporation forms and the forms of joint ventures and LLCs. So real soon. The individual tax class will be available, and I'm real excited. And at the same time, I'm nervous too. So I'm looking forward to doing that and to continue to improve it, because it is a lot. And
Listen, brother. So far, this conversation right here is a master class.
Right.
So you ain't got nothing to be nervous about. Like I said, sign me up, because you making perfect sense to me. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I've been on a few Zoom calls and different training courses and so forth where people are talking about taxes, and sometimes I'll be lost.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I'll be like, you know, okay, I get this, I get that, but how does it apply to me? But just listening to you break down these concepts right here, I'm seeing some of my errors, some things that I could, you know, actually apply to my own situation.
That's
And speaking of my situation, what advice do you have for somebody who's in like a cash business? Like I'm a barber. Majority of my money is cash. I do, you know, card transactions and things of that nature, but the majority of my income is cash based.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so do you get those type of clients, and what are the, you know, the top issues or the top keys that you give to those type of clients?
Yeah. So number one, I always got to lead with do your own research. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But cash cannot be tracked at all. You know, and so the one things that can be tracked, and then why those 1099s and those card transactions. And so it is, and taxes is a game of compliance. It's just make sure that you meet the requirements of this governing body, this the IRS, if you will, this agency. And so there is no way they can really know how much cash that you received in a given year. And you know, especially if you're not depositing and making large deposits and things of that nature. The only thing that they do know is once your card transactions, and that's a big topic of discussion this year, is the cash apps, the Zelles, the Venmos starting to shoot out 1099s, right?
Right.
So it's a game of compliance. So we have to report what's been reported to them. Every time you receive a W-2 or a 1099, if it's filed appropriately, that a copy is mailed to you, a copy is mailed to the IRS, and a copy is mailed to your state, city, or county, depending on where you are. They have those local taxes. So that's the only way that the IRS knows how much that you made. It's called that reportable income. Taxes are not reported. So, and when we're dealing with a game of compliance, we need to comply and file what's reported. So let's say you get a 1099, you probably only ran $600 in card transactions, you know, as a barber. But you know, as a barber, most people are coming in and paying cash money. You done made thousands of dollars in cash. The only thing the IRS knows is what's on that 1099, you know, and then you have the option to add income to it, or excuse me, allocate expenses to that income to reduce it and to have a lower tax bill. So that's the play. However, the rule is you cannot under report your income, right? You should not be able saying that you received less than what you actually did, right? But it is no rule against you should not over report your income. So, and what that means is a lot of times as business owners, especially new business owners, we want to write off everything, and which is cool. You don't have a tax bill, but at the same time, if we understand the paperwork and these pencils and pens and our weapons, when it's time to navigate this system, you want to purchase a home, you want to purchase a vehicle, or anything that has to do with some type of credit or a loan. They want to see documented income. So there is no rule to say, oh, you reported more income and you omitted some of your expenses. So it really depends on the priorities of that particular individual. When
Your
I'm talking to
goals.
business owners, I'm thinking about when we file taxes, I really want you to be thinking about what's your plan in the next 3 to 4 years, what you want to do. But because if the game is like you want to get a business loan, you want to get a mortgage, just those type of to leverage those type of instruments, you have to report a certain amount of income. So you shouldn't be writing off everything because you know you have a goal of getting this house, you know. And then so in that case, report all the cash, report all the credit card transactions, right? Now, if you know, like you good, like I got my mortgage, my car, I got a cash car, I ain't really tripping. Then report what's on that document and make
Gotcha.
sure that you're in compliance with what has been reported to the IRS. And so they not gonna have no issue if you put more than what's on that document. But the issues arise when you put less or nothing at all, and they know that even if it is $600, nah, bruh, we got this document to say you have
Gotcha.
$600, you know. But if you had a document that say 600 and you made 6,000, they not gonna come at you. You know, you may have 600 in car transactions and the $5,400 in cash.
Did
They
that
not
real
gonna
quick.
complain about, oh, thank you for telling us this whole 6,000. You know, so that's kind of the play, is understanding your personal situation and planning ahead. Like we talk about that Trump plan. You know, when he's sitting down with his accountants, you know, it's like, hey, I want to buy this building, I want a mortgage, or I'm about to sell this building. And one thing that I really um think that I know that we don't talk enough about, because especially if we talk about that Donald Trump tax plan, yeah, there was the tax act. It was a big tax law
Mm-hmm.
that was a very controversial when he was in office. It's a Tax Cut and Jobs Act, something like that, TCGA. But it was a big tax law, and a lot of people were so on the reduction of the taxes, of the percentages, that some of the more rich, that was the more controversial topic
Amazon
of
and
it.
all that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, their taxes went down. But what was a part of that law, which I love, and then I see you got Nip on the wall behind you.
Yes, sir.
Nip, David Gross, they talk about it a lot. A part of that bill or that law is the opportunity zones, which deal with
Mm-hmm.
capital assets. And man, it's, you talk about a play, and when if you go Google opportunity zones,
Mm-hmm.
you look at where these opportunity zones are located,
In your
wherever
area.
wherever city you in, it's the hood. They have designated our neighborhoods or inner cities, whatever, wherever city you at, and even some rural communities too, they have designated them as opportunity zones. So what that means is that this law allows you to sell capital assets and acknowledge a certain amount of capital gain. If you invest that and divert that into an opportunity zone or opportunity fund, you all your taxes are deferred. Well, not, I would
Right.
say it, yeah, the majority of your taxes are deferred. If you leave that money in there for more, I think it's about 10 years, then you don't have to pay any taxes on that money. So let's say, we know 45, right? He got these towers. Everybody know about these Trump towers. So let's say he go sell a tower for $50 million, right? That's a capital asset. And so he has a capital gain. But they go and they create an opportunity fund in an opportunity zone. He takes that $50 million that he just got from the property, probably let's say it's the $30 million profit. He put it in this opportunity fund. He don't have to pay no taxes on that money until he pull it out, and he about to be making money on top of that $30 million. So he done made 30, no taxes, and about to be profiting off that 30. About, and it just being there, and opportunity funds and zones are not just properties. You can start a business in an opportunity zone and it be designated as an opportunity fund. Man, I absolutely love it. But it comes with the planning. And because you have to be able to do that. This is not like, oh, yeah, I made this profit and I'm about to go and I'm gonna flip this money. Yeah, Cavanaugh was talking about it on his YouTube. And it's like these things have to be put in play before the transactions are made. And then when you come to somebody like myself, we are just showing where the money went to, and it just has to sit there. And like every year, I think if you have it in there a year, your taxes are reduced by 10%. After that, the next year is like 15%, then it's like 20%, 30%. But by the time you get to 10, by the year 10, you have absolutely no tax liability on that capital gain. But that capital gain is still producing for you, and like I said, Nip was talking about it a little bit before he made his transition,
Yeah.
and the brother David Gross, he's definitely pushing the agenda, and he which is one of Nip's homies. I definitely love everything that they putting out with they have an organization called Own Your Own, um, and I think it's Own Our Own, forgive me. And they talking about, these opportunity zones. They talking about these capital assets,
They're kind of talking
and
about, gentrifying your own neighborhood
Mhm.
exactly,
before the
exactly,
outside
Absolutely.
entities come in and gentrify the
exactly.
neighborhood.
And
And
it can be done
I think some of the
profitably.
pushback from that situation, some of the backlash or criticism, if you will, from that was that, there's just not enough nips and TIs and killer mics to take advantage of those opportunity zones and do what's in the best interest of the community. And it's really being exploited by these gentrifiers. You know what I'm saying? These
Mm-hmm.
big companies, the not Jeff Bezos, but what's the other guy named that I forgot his name. It ain't coming to me right now. But
Mm-hmm.
these big wigs, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying,
Mm-hmm.
right.
that really got the capital to
Mhm.
move around like that, the Trumps and so forth. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
They're the ones that understand the concept of the bill, you know what I'm saying, and these laws. They're the ones that have the capital, and they're the ones that's really coming in and gentrifying these areas. Like you said, the opportunity zones are placed in the hood. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Right.
but
saying? And so people are getting displaced, so it's kind of like, you know, for somebody like yourself who understands it, who knows how to move the money around, you're able to take advantage of that. But for the people who live there, you know what I'm saying, a lot of them are becoming displaced.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
it's just like
And
the mall here, in LA, where you have the black investors, that bid it more than the asking, and they turned down their bid and gave it to some gentrifiers, basically, for less money. And this is definitely in an opportunity zone. This is in the Leimert Park, area of Los Angeles, California. It's
mm-hmm.
pretty much all we have left, we're a little black enclave, of businesses left here. And so when they decided to close that mall down, a bunch of black investors, not a bunch, but a few black investors said, well, we want to keep it. We want to keep this here. We want to keep it open. We want to own it now. And they bid way over the asking price. And they were like, no, we don't
They
want
got
your
turned
money.
down.
We're
Yeah.
going to take
Yeah.
this lesser amount and give it to these Russian dudes that are not going to even live here. And what
Mm-hmm.
they plan to do is tear it down, rebuild it into a bunch of office suites and stuff like that, and rent them out to other people. But yeah, it's no
Yeah.
longer ours.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's I wouldn't say I would say it's two sides to that coin,
Mhm.
because you're right. It's not a lot of nips and killer mics and TIs, but it's a lot of folks, not necessarily like myself, but definitely peers, that's doing a lot of good work in that space. It's a brother, man, and I tip my hat to him. And here in Houston, his name is Chris Senegal. You know what I mean? I'm a fan. Um, and those same laws we can, which is a law that Obama put together, to where we can put our money together. It's true, the economic blueprint. Put the money together, privately owned, and we can go and buy a block together. We can create a business together, to where as a unit we can create those capital assets, and as a unit we can profit off of those opportunity zones and opportunity funds. And that's, it's not an easy thing to do, and that's one of my favorite things to do, next to um, reducing the tax bill, is being able
Mhm.
to advise a group of people. And honestly, I had a meeting the other day, and with the family, that had came together. They put their chips together. It's a brother with a vision, and some other family members with a little capital. Everybody came together, and we got a restaurant in our neighborhood. Um, and this is by people doing cooperative economics, right?
Mhm.
And at the same time, it can continue. It's so many examples of people that are doing that. They see you got the Chris Senegals, you got the brother Ben X and the Hereafter Farms. We got the Freedom Fund, I believe, out in Georgia.
Yeah, even the brother Jay Morrison is doing similar things.
Yeah, and a lot of times, some we kind of overlook it, and we sometimes don't necessarily always give them the same amount of acknowledgement as some of the entertainers. But these are true Black intellectuals that's pushing the envelope, and they doing it. And at the same time, it's almost like it's like Garvey. You know what I mean? You pushing the envelope, but it's people that look like you that's going and telling on you and and getting you in trouble. And I don't know the whole story about Mr. Morrison, but I admire Mr. Morrison too.
Yeah,
but for whatever reason behind the scenes, he's been dealing with some
controversy. Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean?
Little controversy.
But it comes with it's a certain level of understanding, because from what I've seen, it looked good to me.
It looked good to me too. I've been down to the Black House. I've been to the Legacy Center. I love it. I contributed to the fund when it first jumped off. You know what I'm saying? Not much, but whatever I had to give, I gave. You know what I'm saying? Because it was something that I wanted to see happen. And I've been down there. It's a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? The spirit that came over me just walking in that building. You know what I'm saying? Seeing Elijah Muhammad on the wall, you know what I'm saying? Minister Farrakhan on the wall, Marcus Garvey on the wall, you know what I'm saying? The whole spirit of it. I'm like, this looks fly to me. I don't know, like you said, I don't know everything, you know what I'm saying? But I do got respect for what the brother is doing, and like you said, brother Ben X and others. And so now, with the information that you do know about these opportunity zones, is that something that you plan on including maybe with one of your courses that you're developing? And do you plan on working with other people in the field for these courses to bring different teachers on and stuff like that?
Yeah, I would love to. I'm making my steps in doing that. Sometimes I can have perfectionist type qualities. Like, look, I want it to be right. I want it, you know what I mean? I want it, you know what I mean? I want that blue magic, you know what I mean?
Right.
I want that good stuff. I want no issues in it. And sometimes and sometimes I can kind of overthink things myself. So this first class it was a big step for me, believe it or not. And we've done some online discussions as well. And one of the things that I'm doing, even myself, I'm a work in progress. And as you can see, I love these things, these topics, and I will be I'm a nerd out on it. You know what I mean? My wife would be like, what when you're not finished yet? It's time to come to the crib. And so one of the things that I'm working on is doing more of that, is teaching and training, because I'll sit here and play with Excel sheets all night. Honestly, those are my video games, if you will. So I'm that is my goal, is to do more classes. And at the same time, I'm here to advise and consult, those who do have the resources and ready to make those type of plays. I absolutely love it. And I'm like, let's do it, and that's what I'm here for.
You mentioned your wife. Your wife is your business partner as well, right?
She is my life partner and my business partner. Yeah. She be rocking with me.
Shout out to your wife, man. And what's her role? What's her role in the company in her area of expertise? Shout out to the Black woman.
Yeah, Raquel Nweze. She is she's also an accountant as well, and a financial professional. When we met, we both worked corporately, and my expertise is more like the general accounting, the assets and everything, but she's like a payroll guru, so she usually helps most of our payroll clients as well. And then at the same time, she, as I nerd out and do all of these things and sitting with clients, she keeps things in order internally for the business, to make sure that our staff is taken care of. Things I don't when I come with these wild ideas, to make sure, like, okay, what don't go to make sure we're doing it right, let's make sure everything is taken care of. But her financial expertise is in payroll, but she has helped us with taxes and bookkeeping as well. And she has a business of her own as well. And she does just like I'm a financial professional and a gardener. She's a financial professional and a yoga instructor and a healer. So
Beautiful.
yeah. So she's definitely been she's been growing her business and her work as in those roles, while she also plays a huge role in the supporting role here in Nweze Financial Solutions. But yeah, so she getting into it. Yeah. Shout out to Raquel. She
Shout
keep
out
it
to
tight.
Wifey.
Right.
I love it. Family that works together, prays together, stays together.
That's dope,
All
man.
that.
That's dope.
Yeah.
So y'all got, you know what I'm saying? You got the gardening, which is very important. You know
Very.
what I'm saying? Things that we need, part of the nation building,
Yeah.
finances.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
To the top.
My opinion, probably the most important. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And then you got spirituality. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
wellness.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's a hell of a combination right there. You know what I'm saying? With two individuals. Now,
Yeah.
how many children y'all got? How many?
Yeah, so we do and that's it's interesting that you asked me, but we haven't had the opportunity to hold them in our arms yet, but we got a couple spirits with us.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Yeah, appreciate it. But yeah, we still growing, and at the same time, these entities, our gardens, our businesses, these are babies of our mind as well. You know what I mean? So we just getting it and growing in every way possible.
I love
Man, that's
that.
so dope.
That's so dope. Yeah, I love everything that you're doing, everything about your business, how thorough you are, how articulate you are. You sound like you are definitely a master at what it is that you're doing. And with that, I wanted to ask you, how did you become an expert or a master at your craft? Obviously studying, but how do you feel like you became a master at what you're doing?
Yeah, it's a man, a dedication to improve daily improvement. You know,
That Mamba
um,
mentality.
Man, and honestly, I was watching that. I was like, man, I gotta do something extra today. I gotta keep going. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I definitely am honored to be to follow such wisdom, if you will,
Yeah.
from the brother. But yeah, it's just it's a commitment to constant improvement. I do not have all the ideas. Our business didn't look like this 6 years ago when we opened the doors. This office space didn't look the same as it did years ago, and a lot of times, and even what we'll be doing tomorrow, next month, next year, it's not going to be the same as what we're doing today. So every day I'm just trying to get a little bit better, learn a little bit more. I can't even lie, before we started today, I can show you my screen. I got some IRS articles up, just scanning
Right.
things, you know what I mean? Just kind of it's always a polishing of not only a skill of self, because like I said, I'm good at certain things, but I also acknowledge certain things that I got to get better at,
Right.
and I'm always trying to work at that, and work with others who have certain skills that I don't got. Like even the homie, shout out to Crown 808. She's a part of the squad too, and she helped keep us straight.
Man, Crown
All right,
808 be
now.
doing the thing,
Yes,
man.
Yeah.
Crown
She's coming
808
through.
is the behind the scenes
yes,
player
she
because
is.
Yeah.
she part of our squad too.
Yeah,
She
You know
come
what I'm
through.
she
saying?
She come
is.
through. And
We we had the other brother from Alabama. What's his name? The gun instructor.
Oh,
oh
Jerry.
Yeah, she part of his team too. The
yeah.
Crown 808, man.
And that's what it's about. We are just really, just learning and improving on what like Kobe said, what are you passionate about it? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And if you passionate about it, you ain't got no issue. And so that's like I get up early, I go to bed late, and I don't be tripping about it until maybe until I get a little hungry. Yeah, like I'm
Right.
gonna eat. That's for
Right.
sure. I'm gonna eat and I'm gonna go outside to get some, get some nature and everything. If I don't have those two things, I'm a different person. It's like that Snickers commercial. It's like
Right.
is that Brother
Make you
Cavanaugh?
hangry.
Yeah. But if I got that, I like honestly, I got some. I just finished. I was nibbling on the orange before we started chopping up today. So yeah, it's constant improvement and vulnerability and constructive criticism and being open to it. A lot of times we think that we got all of the answers, but we don't. And so it's just having that conversation and even like brother Sincere, man, I appreciate it, bro, because even when I was doing more gardening work, I really didn't understand. I took it for granted how much the knowledge that I had until people started asking me questions. And then they was like, dang, brother, like, can we get a class or something? Can we do that? And that's one of the things, like, we only know our own experience, even just like you are putting together the Godcast, you know what I mean? Y'all got the nice background and the mics and then the headphones and everything. Like, I got these like the little headphones that came from a cell phone that I didn't had a couple of years ago. I had to think about it, like, maybe let me turn on a little lamp, you know what I mean? Make sure I got the lighting right, do a little something, and so we all have our areas that we need to we can just dive into, and then be able to lean on the support from the folks around us. So and
also
honestly,
challenging yourself, right? Because I heard you say, when the brother came to you with the tax issues, that wasn't really your area. You know what I'm saying? But
definitely.
you wanted to help the brother out, so you challenged yourself and you stepped out, into unfamiliar territory.
Mm-hmm.
And now this is something that you do. Added that to your repertoire.
Yeah. And it's still it's about taking those risks. With little risks, there's little profit. And believe me, I've made some mistakes along the way. But it's I got some other good people in my life, and they was like, it's some people talk about is wins and losses, but nah, it's only wins and lessons. Either we winning or we learning. And I've won along this journey, and I've learned a lot along this journey. And I also think, being in business for yourself is also a lesson of self development, of learning of self, because it's like certain things, like it got to a point, it was like, yeah, I just don't do well, and that's okay. And so then just leaning into what we do well and then take it from there.
Awesome. So what would you say, what is a myth about your industry or profession that you would like to debunk?
A myth of our profession that we like to debunk. All financial professionals wear green visors and the little things on your sleeve. I like t-shirts and tennis shoes. That, and that, on a more serious level, is like, as financial professionals, the myth, I would say, that we have all the answers, and we don't. What we do is we interpret the information that's given to us, and it's a working relationship, because garbage in, garbage out. So if a client is not getting me accurate information, there's no way that I can do the job. I can't pull a tax refund out of thin air. Like, look, bro, I got a client now. He's looking at me like, Kevin, I got this tax bill. You gonna make it go away? I'm like, look, man, I pulled every rabbit out of my hat that I possibly can. And if you're not giving me this information, this is what we got, other than being proactive. And, we got to have those conversations, because if it didn't happen before December 31st, bro, we kind of out of there. We ain't got many options.
So do you only practice in Texas, or are you allowed to, I guess, do your financial services in other states?
Yeah, no, we like, as the brother led with the at the beginning, we serve clients not only across the country but also across the globe. We have clients on the continent. We got some clients in Tanzania and Ghana. We got some folks in different cities in New York, in Cali. Do we have clients in Georgia? I don't think
You about
so.
to have one. You about to
You about
have
to
a
have,
client in
give
Georgia.
thanks,
You about to
give
have a client
thanks.
in
You
Georgia.
know, we
You know
here,
what
we
I'm
here.
saying?
But yeah, and we completely cloud based. Even before COVID, I think even before the pandemic, I think maybe about 50% of our clients actually walked into the office. And so we have everything to where you don't have to be here. You can submit your information completely cloud-based, encrypted, safe, all of that good stuff. And from receipt, from you signing off your returns to receiving the copies of them. So we're a cloud-based international company. So I think if as long as you're within this atmosphere, we got you.
All
Yes,
right.
indeed.
Y'all hear that?
And you guys don't only cover taxes. You also help with business startups and help people scaling their business as well. So
Yes,
let
very
me
true.
see if I can pull a couple of them gems out of you before we get out of here today too,
Okay.
man. Like,
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? What are some of the I guess the most the problems that you see the most with people getting started with their business that you've been able to help people with? Common mistakes and things of that nature.
Common mistakes. I would say understanding their filing requirements. I guess that's still kind of
Goes back
tax
to the
related.
taxes.
Yeah. So that I would say the commingling of funds, and splitting, making sure that you have a clear divide between your personal funds and the business funds, because once not only does mingling those funds do they make things even more complicated because I got to figure out what's personal and what's not. But it's also a bigger risk to you because if something happens, Lord forbid, there's a wooden desk right here, so I'm actually knocking on wood. But Lord forbid something does happen in your business, and if it happens in your business name and those funds and those assets are mingled, it's a possibility that they can be exposed to, like you said, limited liability company. That's what the LLC is for, is to limit that liability solely to what's invested into the business and solely to what's a part of the business, not a part of something, not a part of your personal assets. So when you're doing business with us, you're doing business with Nweze Financial Solutions, LLC. You're not doing business with Cavanaugh Nweze. Those are two completely different entities. So Lord forbid something happens in Nweze Financial Solutions, my personal assets are not exposed. And that understanding and those co-mingling of funds can make a big difference. Simple things of just having separate bank accounts make a big difference. Even if you can't get a business bank account, sometimes business bank accounts cost more. You have other fees. You can still get a personal checking account and get a free personal checking account. And as long as you know that one pot is for one thing, this pot is for another, at least those things are split,
Okay.
And even for somebody like myself, you can just pull those bank statements from that business bank account rather than you trying to pull your personal bank account. We've done it to where it's like, okay, I need you to go and highlight all of these different things that is I need to know what's business and what's personal, you know what I mean? Because it makes a big deal. It makes a world of difference. So that co-mingling and the separation of business from personal is a big thing and a very common mistake.
So bookkeeping is important for us personally as well. You know what I'm saying? Making sure that we have, our personal bills as well as our, I guess, personal expenses separate. But also if you're owning and operating a business or even for purposes, if you're a wage earner, it's just important to have great bookkeeping statements, certain receipts, and documents, keeping a file system.
Mm-hmm. Correct. And not only just for saving the receipts, but also in just record keeping, but also to understand the performance of the business, because a lot of times we look at the performance of the business by the level within our bank account, which money coming and going can mean some very different things, you know. And just because the bank account is going up doesn't necessarily mean that the business is profitable. And just because the bank account is going down doesn't mean that you're not making profit. Cash flow and profit are two very different things.
Y'all hear that?
Yes, I
Jewels.
hear it. I hear it.
Jewels. I just say, jewels. We getting our financial literacy game on tonight.
Already.
Yes, indeed, man. We gonna have to get you back on here, man.
Man, I'm with it. I'm with it, man.
Once that class goes live, we would definitely like to have you on for sure.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
cool. Yeah, we can do it. We can do it. And I'm all for it. And you know, I'm like I said, I'm working on some. I already have a list of some other classes that I want to do. We are a growing company. We've been adding on staff members. So in addition to classes, I'm also working on, you know, training our staff members and teaching them and sharing some of the knowledge that I have. So, you know, because it's only so much time in the day and so much that I can do myself. So that's one of the another big thing that we're working on, and to be able to continue to have the capacity to serve more and more as we continue to grow, and we all can grow together. What you about to say something?
No, I almost forgot to share this, but definitely got to pull up. Definitely got to pull up the website.
Okay.
And let people know that they could visit www.nwezesolutions.com.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you can schedule an appointment if you're trying to start your business, if you're trying to grow your business, or if we need help with your taxes. Again, they are an international company, husband and wife duo, beautiful couple right here. You know what I'm saying? And so, financial solutions, ladies and gentlemen, y'all heard it tonight. If you're watching this on the replay or if you're watching this live, y'all heard the game being dropped. Y'all see the value.
Right.
Make sure y'all come check our brother out. Tax preparation. They are small business experts. Help you out with bookkeeping and payroll as well.
Yes, sir.
So it's tax season right now. Do not mess your taxes up. Do not mess around and, you know, not get the Trump plan. Reach out to our brother, Cavanaugh. Let him see if he can work on those tax returns, and he probably can finesse that little Trump plan or something close to it for you.
Yeah. Believe me, I'm gonna do absolutely everything that I can, and we all going home. You know what I mean? Right. We all going home when we finish.
Exactly.
Okay, and so the main office is 3903 Alameda Road, Houston, Texas. Shout out to Houston, Texas in the building.
Already.
And the office hours are 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, and on Saturdays 10 p.m. to 4 p.m. Or is that a mistake? 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Oh, thank you, brother.
Yeah,
we need to get that Saturday game straight.
Yeah, you're gonna have people hitting you up all hours of the night.
Yeah. You know, that explains some things. Appreciate that. And really, that's something else that we're working on too. We got a brand new website that's about to be rolled out with the class. We got some merch coming that we've been working on, some free resources. So like that bookkeeping. So we have a spreadsheet. Like a lot of clients, like, hey, I own the business, but I'm not. I don't have a bookkeeping system. I need to be ready for taxes. So we have a template that we usually send out to some of our business owned clients, to where it's just a simple Excel sheet that can help you not only just come to us, but whoever's you're going to, so where you can create your own very simple profit and loss statement without using a traditional bookkeeping system. And then, of course, then we do help. Not only do we do bookkeeping for clients, we also do train them and teach them how they can do bookkeeping for themselves. If you feel that you may not be ready to outsource that activity completely to us.
For the control freaks.
Yeah, all of that, all of that. We meet our clients where we are.
Where they are, right? Right.
Hmm.
Man, great
What is
information
what?
shared tonight. Go ahead, go ahead.
Absolutely. No,
Go ahead,
no.
nice.
Oh, what? I was going to say, who are three people who have most influenced you in your life? You know.
Mm. Number one, I would say um, Albert B. Klieg. And this gentleman was the founder of the Shrine of the Black Madonna, which is
Oh,
a church which is in Atlanta.
Mhm.
It's in Atlanta, Detroit, and also Houston, Texas. And when I speak about that community that I was raised in, I was raised with as a member. My mother was a member in the Shrine of the Black Madonna. And for people who might not be aware, I was the easiest way to explain it is like um, it's like the NOI for Christians, if you will.
Mhm.
That's the easiest way that I can be able to explain it in the shortest period of time. So the founder of that, so I would say Albert B. Klieg, was a big influence in my life. Marcus Garvey, number one, and then man, my family. I can't like I was I was it's so many individuals in my family. Like I believe I was raised to be an activist, a revolutionary, whether it was being raised within the shrine or just my grandmother, my grandfather, and watching these individuals from being gardeners to sitting on city council boards, just coming and being eloquent and just not taking no shit or
Right.
no stuff. I don't know how that work on here,
Uh-huh.
but I
great.
think we're good.
Nah,
Yes.
Yeah,
you
but
cooking with them.
so yeah, my family and Garvey and brother Cleek and but yeah, and so many strong men and women in my family, and I would be nothing without them. And any compliment that's given to them, given to me, is a compliment that's owed to them.
Right.
I love
And
that.
I'm sure they're all proud of you as well. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
sir.
You're definitely an asset to your people,
Mhm.
asset to the community. You know what I'm saying? The information that you brought to the table here tonight is invaluable. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So definitely, definitely, get all you can out the game. You
Yes.
know what I'm
Hey,
saying?
Okay.
yeah,
Get
yeah,
all you can out the game. Keep
appreciate
on
it.
monetizing that big black brain. You
Yeah,
know what I'm
Right.
man, you see
saying?
it, man. You see all this forehead shit, man. I got to do something with it, man.
Yes, indeed, man. Yeah, man. Great conversation tonight, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate you taking the
Absolutely.
time to be here with us.
Yeah, for
Appreciate
sure.
everybody tuning in. Or if you're checking us out on the replay, please be sure to like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff.
Um,
You know, help us, with that algorithm. You know how they be trying to suppress us out in
right.
these internet streets. But we
Already.
talking some good talk. You know what I'm saying? And I
Yeah.
know everybody that's listening, you have somebody that needs this information in their life. So make sure
Hallelujah.
you share it with them. You know what I'm
Yes, sir.
saying?
Yeah.
Right.
Is there anything about your business, about your company, or even personal life, or anything that you would like to share that we didn't think to ask tonight?
Um, yeah, outside tired of our business, no, we here to help, and we here to meet you where you are. That's one of the very important things that we do. We here to meet our clients where we are, and to provide uh value to our clients. And I would definitely got to give a shout out to the Queen Raquel. Like I said, she not only does she work here within our company, but she has a business of her own, and she's what's called Love Her Retreats. So check out Love Her Retreats and
Love
Love
her
her,
retreat.
Love Her. Yeah,
love her
Love
retreats.
Mhm.
retreats. She has a couple of retreats coming up this year. And it's about it's definitely is women centered. And her is an acronym for heal, evolve, and revive. Because the queens, they go over and above at all times, and a nation can rise no higher than its women. So I'm
Facts.
very, very, very proud of the work that she's been doing, and combining some of her yoga work and her healing modality. So definitely check that out. She does some virtual retreats, some yoga classes, all the things. Um, So I definitely got to shout her out, and just anybody just doing anything positive. Yeah, and we yeah, and I think that's all I got right now.
Thank
Oh, there it
you.
goes. There it goes. I was looking for
Yeah,
somebody
I
to
was
put it
kind
in
of
there.
buffering over.
Oh, good thing. Yeah, Crown 808 can be coming through. Yeah, love her
Yes,
retreats. Yeah.
indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Oh, it's
All right,
love
so
you.
I ain't hear you.
No, I was seeing it wrong. I wrote it wrong. I put love her and it's lover.
Love
Right?
her.
No, it
Her.
is love her. This is yes,
That is-
yeah. There's no R after the E right there.
Yeah, that's okay.
It's
So I wrote it right.
yeah.
Correct.
It's
Oh,
it's
yeah, I see. Yeah. No
Yeah,
R
yeah.
after the E. That's correct.
yeah.
It's love her
Retreats.
Retreat.
retreats, ladies and
Right.
gentlemen.
Mhm.
At love
And
her retreats.
Is
There
she
it
on
goes.
Instagram with
Yeah.
Love Her Retweets as well?
Yes, it's on Instagram. Yes, ma'am. Yes,
There
ma'am.
it goes. That's the correct
There
one
we
right
go.
there.
Yep. It is on Instagram and all of the things. I think that if I'm not mistaken, that's also the website, all of it. But yeah, she's on IG.
Well, we will definitely be supporting Miss Raquel as well.
Already, good thanks. Good thanks.
And we're gonna wrap this up like we always do. Um, Miss Nicety Girl.
All right, so we're going to be wrapping up the show. We first, again, want to thank you for joining us tonight. You brought so much great information. Thank you for letting us all in your black business tonight. Before we end, though, for the night, I wanted to ask you, what does freedom mean to you?
Freedom is the ability to have the choice of what you want to do with your time. That's
That's it.
the greatest freedom. Because it's the one thing that we can never get back.
Yeah,
That's it. And
that's
this is the
it.
part where I got to put you on the spot,
Oh
and
man.
Look at his face.
I got to pass you the microphone,
Okay.
and now the entire black community can hear what it is that you have to say. All of us.
Oh
And
man.
so, what parting words would you want to leave us with tonight before we get out of here?
Yeah. Love yourself, love your family, and through that, if we all focus on that, we all in a good space, because that means we get to take care of everything else around us.
Yes, indeed.
Yes,
Yes,
indeed.
indeed, family.
Another great episode of the Sincere Love the Godcast, y'all, with a great guest. I feel so full of
Uh,
information, but not overwhelmed. Not
good,
overwhelmed at all.
good
It was
thing.
information. Again, it's this time, right? And I definitely learned something. I'm gonna look at the replay and probably be hitting you up.
Okay, we here.
Exactly, for sure. But definitely, this was great information. Thank you so much.
Well,
Yeah.
I appreciate the invitation. It means a lot, and it's an honor. And like I said, I'm available, and let's keep doing it. Let's stay in contact, and whatever it is that I can do, I'm here for you.
Absolutely.
I did find a YouTube channel too. Do you want to plug that?
Yeah, we got I got what is, I think it's in Nweze Solutions. Because we did have some online
Yeah.
discussions that we used to host ourselves. So we do have
Mhm.
some of those conversations that we've had with other financial and just different practitioners to be able to give out some tips. So we have been talking about bringing that back as well. But one of my biggest things is really making sure that I'm really focusing in capacity building in the company. So we kind of paused it for a bit, but we'll be back. And honestly, this is something similar. You know what I mean? So we'll
Right.
definitely be circulating that. So yeah, we do have a few online discussions. I think we did insurance, we did man, I can't even remember right now, but we
Yeah.
did a few different topics that we covered. Just having a conversation and just giving out information, and just to make sure people were taken care of.
And we ain't even get to touch on insurance. So yeah, we definitely
Right.
got to have you back. We
Yeah.
I'm
definitely
here
got to
for it.
have you back.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
And so, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that does it for today's episode of Sincere Love the Godcast. This was another great episode of the Black Business Showcase. Again, brother, thank you for being here with us. And like I always remind the family, we are not the master teachers. We are only the master students and signal boosters for the voices of the new Black media. Appreciate everybody being with us.
All
Appreciate
right.
you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Crown 808, for this referral. We love you, sis. Thank you for holding it down in the chat as well as one of our great moderators. Thank you again, Cavanaugh. How am I say it again?
Nweze, it's all good.
Nweze.
It's all good. We know who you talking
Thank
about. So I
you
appreciate it.
again. Thank
Yes,
you
ma'am.
again, sir, for showing up and tapping in with us and feeding us with this information that our community needs. We can't wait to have you back on again. Family, there will be no show tomorrow. As you guys know, we had a show last night and we're having tonight. There will be no show tomorrow, but we will be back on this Sunday, regular time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. We love you all. Good night.
Peace.
Peace.
Do for self or suffer the consequences. The wisdom of a lie.